Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I have 3 super cool cards to share with you, and they are really easy to make, but I love the layout, or kind of the concept of the layout, and that is to put a little frame in the background and then a printed strip of paper over the top and then add a greeting. So they're really simple, but I think you're going to love them. So we'll make all 3 of them, and I'm just going to kind of bring you through my design process as I was making them. So here is my card. I really like this. It's so fun. And it's with a stamp set that actually the cards all came about because I have this stamp set and I haven't used it. I've done just a teeny bit with it, not very much. So I really wanted to play with it. So I was trying to figure out how I could come up with different types of frames. And when I first started, I was like, oh, the square in here is really small. So how could I make a square without that? So then I took this little line image, and you can see there's 2 others in there. So you can really have fun playing with this. And I just grabbed that and started making lines. Okay, so let me grab my paper, and I am going to start with a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use some gray granite as my basic background color. And I did that with all 3 of these cards, as gray granite is kind of like the neutral color. So I'm just going to start by stamping the lines twice, and I'm giving a good space in between, and then I'm going to go on either end, kind of like that. Then what I did is I took that rectangle and I just started playing with strips of paper. So for instance, I was like, okay, that's too big. So I cut down my piece of paper. Actually, I think I used a scrap that I had laying around. Almost. Let's see if one of these is a little bigger. So whenever I trim down cardstock, I end up with these excess pieces that are kind of left over from trimming my cardstock. There it is. So I keep them handy in a little container right next to my stamping area because I use them quite a bit, mostly for sentiments. But in this case, I'm going to add this to my card. So I'm going to start by trimming this down quick so that it's the right length. I meant to do this before I started my video, but that's okay. Okay, so I'll bring my paper trimmer in here, and I can see that this is about 3 inches long. I think that is right. So I'll just trim this at 3 inches. Double check. Yep, we're golden. Okay. Now, what's nice about this too is if you mess up, you have leftovers that you can use to make another one if necessary. Okay, now next I'm going to add a little paper to protect my work surface, and we'll do a little bit of random stamping on this piece of paper. I'm going to use some Lemon Lime Twist and Coastal Cabana inks along with that gray granite, and I love the look of this. Now for this, I decided I wanted little images, so I went to my Happy Birthday Gorgeous because I knew these cute little flowers were perfect for what I wanted to do. And I'm going to start by stamping the detail first. That's a little bit counterintuitive because often we stamp with the detail second, but in this case, I like this because it's really easy to line up. So then I'm going to take the detail, or the solid image, like I said, we'd normally stamp that first, and I'm going to stamp this off so I get a lighter shade, and then look at, it's so much easier to line the 2 up when you've got that detail on there already. So I'll stamp that off and adhere that down, stamp off, and I don't know why I said adhere down, stamp it. Okay, there we go. Now I have this problem right now. My nails are long. I need to get them done. They're growing out, but I haven't had time to go get them done. So what is happening with me, and maybe you guys have experienced this, I don't know, is I catch my fingertip my nail in the ink, and then I get that little spot. So I'm going to use my little sand eraser to get rid of that ink on here. And the other thing I can do is hide it because I'm going to stamp a little bit more on here. But basically what you want to do is just rub on here until the piece goes away. You don't want to push hard. You're just lightly rubbing over it. And what's happening is the sand eraser is kind of literally taking off the first layer of fiber in your paper to get rid of that ink. And now look at this. It's pretty much gone. You can see I didn't work this one all the way over, but that's how that works. So it's really handy to have one of those. And that is I've shown this many times before, a mono sand eraser 512A. Okay, you can get them on Amazon or in fine art supply stores, like not Michael's, but like actual legitimate art places. All right, now I'm just going to take and add some leaves to this. Again, this is from this stamp set. Okay, so I've just kind of filled that space in a little bit. I think I'm going to put one more right there. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to pop this up right over the top of my panel here. Get some dimensionals. And then we're going to add a sentiment. I will stamp my sentiment before I adhere this down, but I'll put that right there so it's kind of holding its place. And then this happy birthday is again from that same stamp set, the Happy Birthday Gorgeous, which I love that all of those words are in there. Then I'm just making sure I'll stamp that right there in my Coastal Cabana ink, and then we'll place this on top. Now, I wanted to embellish this just a teeny bit with something. I wanted my cards to say stay simple, but I thought a little something would be nice here. So I took some of my basic sequins, adhesive back sequins, and this one is kind of like a patina looking one, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but it's kind of cool. So I'll grab my pick your tool and just place these on here, and look at this. I'm going to cover that one up. I'm so sneaky. And then I'm just going to put 3 of these on here like so. And isn't that pretty cool? I like the look. All right, next I'm going to take and adhere this to my layer of cardstock. This one is 4 by 5 1/4, so it's just a little skinny strip bigger, and I like that extra layer on there. It just makes it look a little fancier. Sometimes in my photos it doesn't completely capture that layer just because white can be tricky to shoot photographs of. But I'm just going to layer this right on top, and there's our first card. Really cute. Okay, the next one's going to be even faster. All right, so for this next one, so the next card, same exact concept, but we're switching it up just a teeny bit. So for this one, I'm going to start with the same 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 panel, and I'm going to stamp the big circle that comes in that swirly frames stamp set. I think, isn't that? Yes, swirly frames. I've had to like re-look at that name a bunch of times because I can't seem to remember it for some reason. So I'm just going to stamp that on there, which looks great. Then I've cut a 3 1/4 by 1 3/4 inch strip. I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to stamp on this. For this one, I'm using the stamp set Tropical Chic, which is a really fun stamp set. And actually, this will be my Creativity to Go class. So I'll put the link in the description of this video. That will be my class for March, which I'm very, very excited about. I've been having a great time playing. I'm going to use the same colors. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm using one of the same colors. I've got Granny Apple Green, Lemon Lime Twist that I was already using, and then we're going to add some shaded spruce for the colors on this one. And I think this is a great card because this could be a really good masculine card if necessary, or just whatever. Okay, so I inked this up in lemon lime twist, like I said. Got a little fuzz on there. I'm going to get rid of that. And then I will stamp this down 2 times. And what I love is we're just going to fill in this little strip. So then I'm going to do my Granny Apple Green. Notice I'm layering the inks. That's okay, the images. Just like that. I don't mind if they're layering. And you do want to ink up your stamps. Sometimes if you just stamp it once, you don't quite get enough ink. But if you kind of smoosh in there a few times, you'll definitely get enough ink to cover that up. And then lastly, I've got my big palm. We'll take and ink this up again in Shaded Spruce. I'll have one kind of coming in from up here. And then another kind of from there. And that looks pretty good. I might put one more little spot right there just to cover up that space. Okay, so that's pretty well inked. Next, what we're going to do is take and add a sentiment. Now, I die cut this from the Well Said bundle. It just says thanks in gold foil. Now, if you were doing this for a man card, I might die cut this out of either gray granite or, yeah, probably gray granite to put over the top. That would tone down. I think gold foil kind of is a little more feminine. Okay, now I sort of wanted this to look like it was popped up a little bit without going into the effort that it would take to get this to pop up, which is to either die cut maybe 3 or 4 layers of cardstock or a layer of fun foam. Like I said, I don't know where my fun foam is since I've moved, so I haven't looked for it to figure out where it is. So here's what my solution to that is. I'm going to take a couple of glue dot logs, and because this is such a small piece, you know, a little die cut, I can get away with this. And I'm just going to roll up 3 logs and place them on my die cut so that they're hidden behind the die cut itself, but this will give my little sentiment here just a little lift up, if you will. Okay, so I'm just going to place that right there. And now it almost looks like it's popped up just a touch. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it kind of stands up off the card, which is what I was going for. Okay, now we're going to actually pop up this whole layer with some dimensionals. And again, that was just kind of like a cheater method for popping those layers up. So I hope you liked that little nugget. And then we'll place this right on top of our stamped frame, like so. Oh, love it. And just like before, we're going to layer this on a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White. And then rather than the gray granite card base, I decided to give it a little bit of pop of color by putting it on a Granny Apple Green card base. And again, if you wanted this to be more masculine, if you threw it on that gray granite, that would kind of tone it down and man it up, so to speak. You're welcome for that, by the way. All right, so isn't that awesome? Now our third one, I wanted to do some butterflies. Since the punch for the Butterfly Gala bundle has been on not orderable status for a little while because of the incredible popularity of this. And by incredible, I mean incredible. Unprecedented, I would say. I'm going to start with the same layer, but this time I'm going to do a little stamping with butterflies and no punching, because this is still a great stamp set. And if you haven't gotten it yet, it's worth the wait, I promise you. It should be back in stock within a month from now. So we're looking forward to that, and I'm always holding out for an early arrival. Okay, so I took the big rectangle, which I've been kind of excited to use this big rectangle frame, and I stamped it right down in my gray granite once again. And then this time I'm going to take a piece of cardstock that I can't remember how big it is, so let's measure it. It is 4.5 by 2. Okay, so that's a nice easy measurement. Now this time I'm going to stamp kind of like I've been doing. We'll just take and stamp sort of all over the place. I've got a fun color combination, which is Mango Melody, Melon Mambo, and my Coastal Cabana, which you know is my fave. And we'll take and stamp those butterflies. Now, I did a little sneaky Pete thing. I took my butterfly stamp and I cut it apart. These two are normally together. You can see I cut it right there and right there. And then I'm able to use these separate from one another, which I love. The other thing about this is that while these are separate, I can easily put them back together and then they'll be lined up for use with the punch. So no big deal there. Okay, now I'll bring my sample in again so you can see. This is what we're doing. So just like before, I'm just going to stamp kind of all over. So I'll start with my big butterfly and I'm going to stamp this 3 times in my Mango Melody ink like that. And notice I'm going off the edge. Whenever I stamp anything randomly, I always stamp in triangles. And that will give me a nice visually appealing look. Okay, now I'm also going to clean this off quick, and I'm going to stamp it in some Melon Mambo, just to kind of fill in a little bit there and maybe there. Okay, and now I'm going to add some of the small butterflies in my Coastal Cabana. Yeah, that was not all the way clean, darn it. Now, if that ever happens to you where you take a dirty stamp and ink it up in a color that's lighter, to fix my ink pad, it's not ruined. I just need to re-ink it right there. It'll be fine. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp my small butterfly in Coastal Cabana. Now, because this is a smaller sized butterfly, I can stamp it several times in here. And then I think I'm going to do one more little one in my Melon Mambo right there because I don't have any. And then that looks pretty good. I've got my space filled up. Now I'm also die cut a little hooray out of that same Well Said framelit set. And this time it was in silver glimmer paper. Pretty girly, but so are our colors. And just like before, I'm going to do that same technique where I roll up a couple of my glue dots. They're easy to do, and then I can just hide them underneath those letters where there's kind of thicker spots. And then I'll have that sort of faux popped up look. I really like having that option. By the way, I got into it with a little yellow ink pad earlier, and you'll have to check my blog back today because I've got another video coming for you. So watch for that. Okay, I'm going to stamp or stick this over here just because there's a little bit of empty space. And then this will kind of cover that up just a little. And there it is, kind of popped up again. I love that look. And then just like before, we'll pop this panel up onto our card as we've been doing. Just using up some of these edge pieces. Oh, I love it when I finish off a sheet of dimensionals. It just makes me happy. I do that relatively often, I might add. Okay, so there's my hooray. And then we're going to adhere that once again to our 4x5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White, and then we'll add it to our gray granite card base. I loved using the neutral color on this particular card for the card base because then it really lets all those bright butterflies pop out at you on the card. So isn't that fun? So I hope you have loved these 3 fabulous cards, and you'll give this technique a try. Pick up that swirly frame stamp set. You won't be disappointed. This is just scratching the surface of what's possible with this set. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Happy stamping. Oh, and if you need anything, would you shop my online store? I would so appreciate it. Whenever you shop my store, it helps support these videos and bring you more awesome videos just like this. You can also subscribe to my channel right here. Click that little subscribe link, and that will help you subscribe so that you don't miss any more awesome videos. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.